The Trichomes.com studios in Southern California. It's time for your Morning Buzz. We bring you late-breaking news that keeps you up to date with what's happening in the cannabis industry.
All right. Welcome to the Trichomes Morning Buzz. Today is Monday, May 2nd, and these are your top cannabis headlines from around the world. Well, around the nation, really. First up, we got Ohio legal marijuana advocates say GOP leaders are trying to block the 2022 ballot question. Next up, feds need to catch up on marijuana. Florida Agricultural Commissioner says we're visiting that one based on an op-ed that was presented. And last, top Schumer aide talks next step for marijuana legalization and cannabis banking reform. We all know Schumer and crew have been holdouts against safe banking until now, possibly. So, getting right into it, we go to the first story, which hits us from the Ohio Dispatch, the Columbus Dispatch, excuse me. Ohio legal marijuana advocates say GOP leaders are trying to block 2022 ballot question. Advocates who want to legalize marijuana in Ohio say Republican legislative leaders are trying to keep the issue off the November ballot. In a lawsuit filed Friday in Franklin County, members of the Coalition to Regulate Marijuana Like Alcohol claimed House Speaker Bob Cupp and Senate President Matt Huffman are trying to circumvent the initiated statute process and delay the ballot question until 2023. The group submitted voter signatures earlier this year to place the adult use marijuana proposal before the legislature. The measure would allow Ohioans 21 and older to buy and possess up to 2.5 ounces of cannabis and grow plants at home. Products would be taxed at 10%, with revenue going towards administrative costs, addiction treatment programs, municipalities with dispensaries, and a social equity and jobs program. Governor Mike DeWine and Republican leaders opposed recreational marijuana, and Huffman previously said he wouldn't bring the proposal up for a vote. Some GOP lawmakers are instead focused on a bill that would expand Ohio's medical cannabis program and hope those changes will dissuade stakeholders from funding the adult use initiative. So, Ohio marijuana question 2022 or 2023? Let's see. At issue on Friday's lawsuit, the state requires petitioners to submit voter signatures in support of the measure at least 10 days before the start of the legislative session, which was January 3rd of this year. The group filed its petition on December 21st. Wow. It looks like the GOP in Ohio is really just trying to step in the way of progress and what's actually going on here, which, you know. So we'll go on to the next subject here, and the next subject was brought up last week. We brought up a guns rights lawsuit that was brought on by the Florida Agricultural Commissioner, and today she says in an op-ed that was on Marijuana Moment, feds need to catch up on marijuana. Florida Agricultural Commissioner says. Let's see. She said, that's why I filed a federal lawsuit in my official capacity as Florida's Commissioner of Agricultural and Consumer Services, as my department administers concealed weapons permits in the state, bringing attention to just one of many ways in which the federal government's inconsistent and illogical cannabis policies are creating not only confusion, but actual harm. In this particular case, it is the infringement on the constitutional right of the state legal medical marijuana patients in Florida due to the current language on the federal form prohibiting them from purchasing a firearm. This is in no way about challenging the federal government's right to enact reasonable gun regulations to protect the public, as I remain a staunch advocate for more common sense gun violence prevention measures. She goes on to say, when I came into office, I made a commitment that my department would make a thorough background check, make sure a thorough background check was conducted for every single concealed weapon permit. She goes on to say, my record is clear when it comes not only calling for, but taking concrete actions to further gun safety. Unfortunately, these dilemmas posed by federal prohibition of a state legal medicine affects massive numbers of Floridians. Currently, over 700,000 Floridians are medical marijuana patient cardholders. Outside of the registered cardholders, there is a huge pool of potential applicants. Over 400,000 Floridians have epilepsy. An average of 115,000 new cancers are diagnosed in Florida each year, and countless others live with qualifying conditions such as PTSD, ALS, and chronic pain. With 37 other states home to medical marijuana programs, these numbers and this impact is multiplied further nationwide. She goes on to say, and you know, within what she's talking about, I see nothing but facts here, and I definitely can't wait to catch up with you guys in the comments on this one. And finally, we're going to go on to the last headline here, of which we spoke about. I kind of brushed over it on Friday because well, I figured it was more of just kicking the can. But as I got into the article more and read a little bit about it, it sounded like some sense was being uh, kind of thrown around. So the headline is Top Schumer aide talks about next steps for marijuana legalization and cannabis banking reform. Top staffer for Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer spoke on Thursday about path forward for federal marijuana legalization bill and prospects of passing incremental measures like cannabis banking reform in the interim. Let's see. So he said that finding a balance is work that we are currently undertaking on the Senate side. While a draft of his boss's Cannabis Administration Opportunity Act was unveiled this summer, Babin said that the final legislative text will hopefully be filed in the near future as they perfect the paperwork. Let's see. Oh, let's see. Oh, geez, I lost where I thought they had some good things about the incremental changes and making sure that they got safe banking in front of this. So, um, Schumer, Ron Wyden, Senator Cory Booker, they've all been basically against safe bank passing because they wanted the MORE Act to pass first, and essentially what they were talking about was Schumer and colleagues have been working on the bill for over a year. Yeah, let's see. The question was about a broader debate over incremental versus comprehensive reform. But that conversation is especially pertinent to the bipartisan Secure and Fair Enforcement Act, which has passed the House only to stall in the Senate, both under Democratic and Republican control. Hmm. At the end of the day, what we're all trying to do here is get as much done as possible. And I do think that the state of play in both chambers with respect to Safe Banking Act, Kane said, we're all trying to get as much done as possible without completely unwinding the whole strategy. I think one of the things that is necessary to make sweeping reform possible is at least our chamber going through exhaustive lengths to identify what is part of the forthcoming bill. I can't say that whether or not we'll endorse it because I know what's in it. But in the House, we unfortunately voted on a piece of legislation that did not include regulations, and that was a non-starter for a lot of the members, including my own. Hmm. Well, okay. Really, I read somewhere in here that they said, okay, here's Schumer. the Schumer day said, I understand that legislative process can be frustrating as a starting point. We respect the people who feel as though more should have happened by now. I disagree with that, but I respect everyone's opinion and their right to have an opinion. But from day one and throughout the process, he's been consistent. He will always stand for those communities, find a way to address the harms if possible. So I don't know exactly what I was reading, where the staffer said um, that they were looking at incremental changes that may make sense when it comes down to safe banking. But I'm going to go back and find that as we go. Hey, I'm going to jump into the comments here real quick. Little Mac 86, Steve Woods, Michael Payton Sr., Joey 420, everybody, Wicked Smart. Great to see everybody. We've Donkey Limit, good morning. So yeah, within these titles for the day, um, the first one up with Ohio's legal marijuana advocates say GOP leaders are trying to block the 2022 initiative. Where are you guys on that? I mean, realistically, how do we vote these people out faster? That's the big thing, right? It's how do we get these people out faster? Uh, let's see here. Secretary LaRosse declined to comment. It boils down to the fact that you've got these holdout states and you've got these people who are holdouts for what they consider to be the best route, for their state, or when it comes down to legalization. Um, but in Ohio, the people, they collected the signatures for it, and when it comes down to the legislative process, when it comes down to the process thereof, this process is what gets things onto the ballot for some people in the GOP in Ohio to stand in the way of that. Isn't that unconstitutional? Isn't that against what we've put all these things in place for? But it's kind of crazy. Let's see. There you go, Little Mac. I told you, Ohio Republicans block all progress. Our medical marijuana board has been a mess from the go. Changes all the time and is far from transparent about it all. And you have been talking about that and you have been preaching about it. And I see that as that's something that realistically you're pretty on the nose with that, Little Mac. So let's see here. The other thing is, Schumer's, hell, Schumer, it's only been 50 years. Get it done. There we go. Fix it, stupid. Nuclear term limits. I think there's a lot of people in the comments that would agree with you on that. Well, and when it comes down to it, I know gun rights, and I'm not sure, that everybody in the comments owns a gun, or if this is a particular big matter to everybody who's joined on a live here. But really, this federal law that prohibits people from owning a gun if they participate in medical marijuana um, is a clear violation of basically the Constitution, that kind of thing. And for someone to step up the way that the Florida Agricultural Commissioner did, and kind of really take a position against her party, and really talk utilizing common sense and the black and white letters of the law, has brought up some great points. And it really isn't so much opinion piece. We read from her op-ed, but when it comes down to it, Nikki Fried, agricultural commissioner from Florida, she's basically sitting there and talking about what is happening by the numbers in Florida, and then sheds enough light on it that with 37 other states, meaning 38 states in total, these numbers and its impact have multiplied the nation further. Being somebody who can't own a gun, it's something that really um, I, I hadn't worried about it too much because of the fact that I was a medical patient before. Basically, I didn't choose to continue through with that because, well, um, personal reasons, that kind of thing. I didn't want to be on the state's register and that kind of deal, even though I couldn't own guns. But I have seen it as nothing but unfair to this when ultimately there are no other tests for illicit drugs in that nature. And then when you're coming about CWP, um, concealed weapons permits and that kind of thing, it really is one of those deals that there is no other um, pre-existing medical treatment, right? You have pre-existing medical conditions. You have certain different things that do exclude you from it, based upon mental disorders or mental health issues and a couple different things. And again, which I'm not very familiar with, but really those are disorders versus treatments. Medical marijuana as a treatment and as a blanket no for the federal law seems to basically kick out the consideration of anybody's ability to handle a gun if they've had marijuana at all. And again, we've talked about it before. Is that nobody else, whether they're taking these certain medications or whatnot, has to make a choice and write it down. You know, if you're an alcohol consumer, you don't have to put that on your concealed weapons permit. There's some certain tests and there's certain qualifying factors, but when it comes down to concealed weapons permits and it comes down to guns rights, is most people who participate with pharmaceutical drugs or any other type of ailment relief don't have to mark down on the ballot that they have this ailment. And thusly, they don't have to worry about whether or not they can have a gun because of it. With cannabis, if you're on a state medical marijuana ledger, you are automatically disqualified from purchasing a gun on the go forward level, and you're supposed to turn in your guns. So it's ridiculous. Um, let's see. Yeah, Wicked Smart. Exactly what you just said. It's cool if he down big pharma meds and can go on an AR, but heaven forbid it smoke a bowl. Exactly. Let's see. Steve Woods, I see that truck drivers are complaining about that they can't smoke marijuana off duties. Um, when uh, that's basically a testing issue. You know, Steve Woods, when it comes down to it, is you have truck drivers, you have federal clearance, you have police officers in New Jersey. A lot of it is coming to light right now that essentially you have um, all sorts of people who would like to use cannabis, but the testing and the ability to tell when someone's intoxicated versus when they're not puts people in public safety positions in a little bit of a precarious position. And truck drivers, you know, when it comes down to it, is just as you saw one passing behind us, it's they're out there in public safety and if something happens, right? I'm not going to get into the debate whether or not they're more dangerous or less dangerous on the road because it definitely affects people differently. But if something were to happen while they were impaired, or while they weren't impaired, yet they had just smoked cannabis 2 or 3 days before, there's no defensible position for them at the moment. There's no way at the moment to tell that they weren't inebriated at the time of the infraction or God forbid the accident of which is in question. Um, and Joey 420, can't they get a swab to test if they just smoked? I don't believe so. They're coming around. There's a couple different tests that are being run through the DEA and the National Highway Institute for Safety and that kind of stuff. But really, there's brain scans and then there's saliva tests, but nothing's conclusive or proven conclusive at this point. So it's one of those things that is it going to be something that helps with public safety? Um, and and to my knowledge, right now, while they're working on it, there there's nothing conclusive yet. So wicked smart. My brother works for Moxie by PurePen, and they just expanded the facility by over 500,000 square feet. Talks within political parties have been on record, as well as the governor in favor. Wicked smart. Where are we at? In PA, huh? Well, let's see here. Uh, yeah, PA's been going legal for a while, and as far as the medical goes, they're trying to get rec passed. So how close in favor do you think they are? You know, there's a couple things bill tracker wise that we're going to go over this week, which actually brings me up to a couple things here. Number one, you know, I see a lot of the regulars in the comments and hanging out with us again. But if it's your first time, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I don't ask for that enough. I forget. You know, I get yelled at by our producer over here. But you know, really, I was looking at doing a states update. I know we've got people from all over the United States that listen in, not only here but on the app. And when it comes down to it, we track bills. We have a whole bunch of states updates, and while they're not um, always the biggest updates, what we can do is, you know, once a week in the beginning of the month, probably go over some bills and do a question and answer period right afterwards. So there's two things about that. Number one is last week I informed you guys, I'd forgotten to tell you guys why I wasn't here on most Tuesdays the last few weeks. And I have a standing appointment, doctor's appointment, let's put it at that, for 7 a.m. in the morning here on Tuesdays. So that's why I'm not here. Number two is I have a couple people that have noticed that the screen shakes a little bit. I am here at, you know, we're freeway side, but I'm on an end term desk and it's a little bit wobbly. I'm trying to fix it, and I'm trying also to use my hands a little softer or whatnot, but it's the desk and the fact that I'm on this computer, so it's a little bit shaky, and I apologize. Thank you everybody for bearing with the production value here, as it is going to be changing. We're just kind of holding ourselves here in a placeholder until we update the formats of the shows. So really this is about getting to talk to everybody about these issues and to bring the news so that, you know, we can have these discussions and really learn things, you know, that we don't know what at the start of the day, right? Every single day as I go through these headlines, I'm learning something new. Every single day I'm learning how diverse the fight is in each of these states, especially the holdout states, on trying to make this thing happen either on a medical level or a recreational level. So yeah, let's see. Wednesday, what we'll do is we'll start um, we'll start with this week being the state update week, and I will do my best to get an update for every one of the states as a, instead of doing three topics every day. What we'll do is we'll do two topics, and then we'll do a section of state updates as the third topic. So really, we'll do that at the beginning of every month, I think, and we'll see which states get the most response and where everybody in the comments is at on which states they want to hear about. But really, we'll go from there and just start with the most popular and then the ones that you guys ask for. So yeah, I think that's what we'll do. Tomorrow won't be here for the 7 o'clock. If there's anything that pops off news wise, I will make sure after the appointment I come in here and go live and let you guys know about it if there's anything that's pertinent. Tuesdays in cannabis, they haven't been popping for a while, so we'll see what comes through. But if not, what'll happen is I'll come through on Wednesday and we'll go through. So yeah, it's looking like the state updates is a good idea, and everybody's kind of for it. So yeah, well, yeah, that'll be easy for us. We've got some bill trackers, and we've got the movements. North Carolina and PA, got it. We will go ahead and do that. Michael Payton Sr. Yeah, you know, when it comes down to marijuana legalization, you know, the only breath holding we should be doing is after a big rip, holding the breath just a little bit longer and then exhaling. Because if you're holding your breath waiting for cannabis legalization this term, we're all going to be a little blue in the face, I think. So with that, let's see here. Let's see here. Georgia. Yeah, Georgia. I'll go back through here and whoever, go ahead and put your state in in the comments. I'll go back through the comments, and on Wednesday, those will be the states we start off with, and we'll finish up with Thursday and Friday being the other states. So I've definitely seen a couple listed there. And I see Steve Woods with New Jersey needs the homegrown. Can't identify more with that. That is something that it boils down to. If the law is not right, it starts with signatures, and then it starts with showing up and getting on the desk of the people who can help. All right, we got Ohio, Little Mac, definitely. Ormed, you're very welcome. Thank you for showing up. And I definitely look forward to, yeah, everybody coming in and us doing these state updates. Um, let's see here. Anything else to talk about? Well, realistically, I haven't opened up the app, but really on a daily basis, just so you guys know, is we have the Trichomes Community app. And with that, what you have here is, besides the news that we have going on and the stuff we talk about, which I try to pick from the newest headlines and the things that pertain to the most people when it comes down to it, on a federal level, things that affect us all, gun rights, home grows, that type of thing. These affect us on a big level. When it comes down to state by state and dailies, we have an app where we aggregate a lot of the news content from around the, not only around the nation but around the world, and daily we update that every single day. We have a community that comments on it. Right now we're in a closed beta, but it's well, I say closed, invite only, which means that everybody here watching is invited. We have there we go, Michael Payton Sr. We've got some links that I can put up here at the end, and we'll make sure it's in the description. Let's see. There's the actual invite link. So on Apple or Google Play, you can go ahead and find the Trichomes Community app. That invite link right there below, which again we'll put in the description so that everyone can have it. I think it's at the top of our page as well, where you can copy and paste. Will allow you to get into the invite only beta part. Over the next, let's call it 30, 60 days, we're making some moves on opening up to the public. And really, the people who are in first, we love people in there. Where there's a lot of games to play, there's tokens to win, there's ways to be involved with the community. We just put in a tipping feature, so that if you like what people are doing outside of us at Trichomes or whatever, but if you like what other community members are doing and features that are happening or jokes that are being put out, you can tip people within these T tokens, that kind of thing. So really, yeah, the next part of that is joining the app so you can see more of the news on a daily basis, especially if we're talking about state by state level. We try to stay away from all the cannabis busts and that kind of stuff, but we are starting to highlight certain aspects of the illicit market, just because it is, well, it's undeniable in how it's affecting the legal market. So the more we can highlight what is affecting the legal market, the more we can identify how we can make it more robust and help people have better access, more fair access, and make things better step by step. And then also help people understand where the chances of it getting better might not be so good in certain states. So, let's just see. Wicked Smart, thank you very much for that. You guys can hit that like button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Wednesday, we will be doing a state-by-state update, starting as our third topic there. So I'll be going back through, make sure if you haven't dropped your state, go ahead and drop it in the comments right now. And we'll go ahead and cover that on Wednesday. Otherwise, it's about that time. And I thank everybody for joining. Look forward to seeing all y'all in the app if you have a chance to join, that kind of stuff. Otherwise, talk to you soon. Thanks for joining the buzz. Be safe, be well, and talk soon.